We'll talk a little bit. Maybe you can introduce yourself also. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us about Greek cheeses, because there's a lot of lovers of Greek cheese.
Yes, and I'm glad to be given the opportunity. Not too many people know about the Greek cheeses as much as I do because I sell them for many years now. I'm Elias, the owner of Greek Imports in Daly City at 6524 Mission Street, and we're open to the public there. Pay us a visit and you will find out a lot of surprises. We have 98% of our product is from Greece, and we cater to a grand variety of about 250 Greek wines, about a dozen kinds of olives, cheeses, olive oils, more than 30 different brands, and even T-shirts, clothing, religious items, music, DVDs, videos, or CDs, all these things. Now, back to cheeses.
About the cheese making.
The cheese making has changed from the primitive way I remember it to very sophisticated and with the latest equipment in making cheese. I've seen videos to that effect, and mainly in the central part of Greece, in the region of Thessalia, because they have flat lands there and they have large herds, and therefore they have a lot of tyrokomia, meaning the companies that deal with cheeses. They collect the milk from all these producers, and they make vast varieties of and sizes of cheeses. So we do get a lot of cheese from there. And the product, dairy product, is also the Greek yogurt. We were the first ones to import the Fage total yogurt in California. I have a picture to that effect. And at that time, it was coming by air freight from Greece to New York, and the delivery in refrigerated trucks from New York to here. So we unloaded the first lot of about a pallet of Greek yogurts, and everybody was surprised. We gave a lot of it as samples. And I talked to the executive in New York, and he says, we're going to invent a method to get into the American market. I said, what's the method? Give him free yogurt. And he did. And that is how Fire started. And the Greek yogurt took off, and the enormous millions, billions of dollars and pieces of yogurt being sold in the last 5 years. So the Greek yogurt is not...
so they make it in the same region where they do the cheese?
They did. They did originally make it in the same region. And what has happened now, the demand is so great that they don't have enough supply. So they make it in the East Coast. They make the Fage and total, as it's sold here by that name. They make it in Maryland. And they have the dairy farms from Maryland collecting all the... They have a brand new plant there. They make all the yogurt. And there's other companies, some of which have no idea what Greek yogurt is. They just adopted the term, and they baptized their yogurt, which was usually in flimsy cells. They named it Greek yogurt, and they increased their sales.
Yeah.
The Greek yogurts are very few. Original forms, like the Bulgarian cheese milk that is sold here as buttermilk. It's a Bulgarian buttermilk. It's their form of milk and has gone all over, but nobody calls it Bulgarian anymore because everybody makes...
buttermilk. Buttermilk. Oh, okay.
That is a Bulgarian invention.
Oh.
Like Greek is the feta invention. Bulgarians have the Bulgarian milk. So now it's all produced here. There's no original...
But the Greek cheeses they're all produced in Greece,
pretty much. The Greek cheeses that we sell are all made in Greece, with the exception of Stella Kasseri, which is in Wisconsin, and Athenos feta and dairy products that is made also in Wisconsin.
Okay.
They're not from Greece. Yeah. The imported feta is entirely different, and you can tell the texture when you eat it. And
can you tell us a little bit about, tell us about feta making, and it's a little, I heard it was the first whey cheese, but I'm not sure if that's goat's whey cheese, because it uses the whey. It's a different cheese making process.
It is a different process, and it's made with, the starter comes from original cheese. They take the stomach of a baby lamb and that is the starter for making the feta cheese. Now, when they need a greater quantity of it, they multiply it by making a special process. They warm up the milk. They don't boil it. They warm up the milk, and they dilute that little quantity they have in it, and automatically becomes starter. And now, so far, they haven't been using chemicals in it. It's all original product, and that's what makes the cheeses more flavorful. So nobody knows what tomorrow is going to be, but today, that's the way it is. And I like the way it is today because I've tasted all these cheeses and I know.
Would you recommend, so if someone is wanting to like try out feta, would you recommend they try a bunch of different fetas, or because there is goat feta and sheep feta and cow feta, or
Yes,
not as much? Yeah.
it is. The American feta is made out of cow milk. The Greek feta is made out of either sheep's and goat milk, or sheep's milk or goat milk. They all can make separate fetas. The texture changes. The combination of sheep's and goat milk is the best for feta. Then there's French feta. It's more buttery, less salty, but that is for people that want to avoid the salt. But when you say feta, it's a white salty cheese. Basically, that's what it is. The description of feta is a white salty cheese. Now, that salt doesn't necessarily mean bad for your body because it transforms into better bone structure, and it's got all the necessary things to be a healthy food, a healthy cheese. So that's what we base our preference to Greek feta. Now, there's also Bulgarian feta, which is...
That's what I grew up eating, actually.
Yes. And unfortunately, I'm going to say this with the knowledge I have. When the Bulgarian factory was government-owned factory and they were exporting Bulgarian feta, was of supreme quality. Today, that has changed. They use a lot of byproducts. They use powdered milk to make feta, which is not so good. And a couple of years ago, they arrested somebody because he had in Salonika 500 tins of Bulgarian feta to be placed in those tins that was not in Bulgaria. It was in Salonika, in Epanomi town. And it was all made out of powdered milk. So,
well, there's probably some good, I mean, we have Bulgarian friends. There's probably some good Bulgarian feta, but maybe not the national government.
There's
that
one brand that continues the formula of the government-owned factory, which now has been privatized because the system changed.
Yeah.
And that only one brand of feta is better than the rest of them.
Okay.
So if you're lucky to get that good brand of Bulgarian feta, most people use it to make spanakopita, tiropita, and these cheese pie and spinach pie because it's less expensive and the saltiness degree is good enough to make a good pita. So that's why they're using it. A lot of women in our Greek community use Bulgarian feta, and we sell quite a bit of it. Then the American feta, it's drier. It's made of cow milk and in some cases mixed with sheep's milk, but the taste is not the same. And once you give
no, I can't really eat
once you're given
American
a choice
feta.
to compare fetas, you're going to get either feta from a barrel, which is aged in a wooden barrel of 120, 125 pounds each, and that is my number one feta. I call it the king of feta. Or the Dodoni brand name, which is excellent, has very, very good feta, but they don't have it from the barrel. They just have the regular square blocks of feta. And then there's other companies that make good feta. And recently we imported feta from Corinth up in the mountains, Syria. And it's imported by a company in San Jose. And that feta has become the favorite of people around here.
Oh, I'll have to try it.
Yes, you will be given the opportunity as soon as we finish here. and that's really a good surprise. They do a good job. They make not only feta, but they make other products as well. But their feta is from the barrel, and it is very delicious, very tasty. So they also make feta in the islands. The production is not great because the number of animals is smaller there, and the excellent quality that they make can only reach Athens. It's not enough to export. So
Yeah,
we're
yeah, yeah.
unfortunate in this respect because we don't get it here.
So are we mostly getting cheeses from, like it's not small production, it's more bigger production that's being exported to the U.S.?
The companies that represent those kinds of feta in the United States need consistency in the
Yeah.
production and number,
Yeah.
pounds or pallets of it, and the small producers cannot meet that. So private companies bring their own small orders, and they say they have Ladotiri Mytilines, for instance, which is a cheese of Graviera aged in olive oil. They dip it in olive oil and leave it there for at least 6 months, and that cheese has a mellowness. It's a delicious cheese, but not enough to find in the market. Then they have also other cheeses that they make in Crete, and they never reach here. They called anthotyros. It's a form of manuri cheese that we have in abundance here, but anthotyros is freshly cured cheese that used in pastries and in salads or for breakfast. In hotels there, they bring you manuri and honey in the morning, and it's a beautiful breakfast if you're in Crete.
Nice.
And then other islands also make a variety of other cheeses. There's a cheese called katiki, domokos, that's in mainland Greece. Not enough for exportation. I had the fortune of meeting the owner when I was in Greece about 10 years ago, and I brought in a bunch of cheese with me. They called it psomotiri, meaning bread cheese, because they use it as a spread on their bread and they eat it that way. So not enough to come here. And now they use the companies that make those pre-made pies, like Rizizimi or Alpha. They use those cheeses, and thank God we get their
Oh,
products.
so we can get it in the frozen,
in
like
the frozen department
Spanicopitas or something?
Yes, we can get it there. In the Spanakopita and Tiropita, we get good variety of cheeses because, and those are made in Greece and they come from Greece. A lot of recent arrivals have excellent quality.
Nice. Hold on one sec.